Welcome to Martha Runs the World, a podcast with a new take on running, fitness, and all things health-oriented. I'm Martha Hughes, your host, and each week I present a new topic that is of interest to all runners. Hi, and welcome to episode 329 of Martha Runs the World. Today I'm going to talk about reasons why you should not push yourself too hard. And a while back, there was a big movement, go big or go hard. Well, thank goodness that's died down, thankfully, because it's kind of ridiculous. It's ridiculous for someone to put levels up of how you should do your runs, how you should live your life. No, only you can do that. Only you can tell yourself how to train, how to run your runs, how to live your life, right? And running is all about personal choices and how you want to run. If you want to go big and go hard, well, then you can do that. If you don't want to do that, don't do it. There's nobody in the world to tell you how to run unless you hire a coach and then they can suggest ways for you to run. But if you don't want to do that, then don't do it. I got really tired of the whole Goggins thing about this is the only way you could do it and you can only try harder and you're not trying hard enough and blah, blah, blah. So I'm really glad that those days are gone, or at least in the rearview mirror. We can wave bye-bye to them. It got tiring very quickly. It's fine for a young person in their 20s or early 30s with lots of excess energy and testosterone, if they're a guy, of course, to want to act tough and give 100% all the time, every time. There's no staying power in that. You really can't do that for very long. It's not necessary. Seriously, if you want to run your entire life, and I assume you do, then you're going to have to treat it like an ultra, not like a 100-yard or 100-meter dash. 100-yard dash, I'm thinking of high school here. You have to treat it like a 100-meter dash. If you hear rumbling out there, I apologize. There's a big truck. So I don't want to stop recording because I have a lot to do today. So I apologize for that sound. If you do the research, you'll find that some of the fastest marathoners in the world, like the Kenyans, do most of their trainings at slower speeds. Okay, well, slower speeds for them. To us, their slower speeds are still our sprinting speeds, or even faster. But it's still slower for them. The idea that we don't do enough, that we always have more to give, is nonsense. And what's more, it's dangerous advice. No one knows how hard we work. You may have a family, you may have kids that you have to take care of, and yet you find time to go out and run. You're giving much, much more than anyone knows. How dare they say you're not giving enough? The person that's saying that is probably a single guy. I'm sorry, but I hate to point guys out, but it sounds kind of like that. It's probably a trainer who's looking for more customers. It's really wrong to say, you're not giving enough and you have to give more. It's just, to me, it's outrageous and insulting. And I think they have to stop doing that because you're giving tons already. Most of us are. We have busy lives and we go out and run. That's giving a lot. We're certainly not sitting on the couch unless we're injured, and then we should be sitting on the couch. But we are giving as much as we can. I've watched videos of elite runners being helicoptered to hospitals because they gave too much and nearly died. I've seen friends who ignored the warning signs that they were way over their heads and kept going, only to find that they had done significant damage, possibly permanent damage, because they didn't listen to those signs and they wanted to give more. Don't be those people. Don't give too much. Listen to your body, listen to yourself, and don't go hard all the time. This is what happens when we listen to the go hard mentality. This is the scenario that horrible psychology creates. It's dangerous because if you give too much, it can be very, very harmful. First and foremost, experienced runners need to listen to their bodies. New runners haven't had time to understand this, but if you're a runner with a few years, you'll be able to listen to what your body is telling you. Now, the next part might be difficult, but you must try to do this, especially if it's a race you're looking forward to and you've worked a long time towards. But you must try to turn your emotions off. If you can do that, if you can at least turn the emotions down and realize that it's just a race. It's not your life. It's not the rest of your life. It is just a race. Even if it's a race you've been looking forward to for years, it's still just a race. You have the rest of your life, and you don't want to do permanent damage to your body or even damage to that will last a year or a few months. You don't really want to do this, do you? It's just a race. Just remind yourself of that. I mean, you want to do the best you can, of course, but you want to understand that it is just a race. This may seem fatalistic, but you don't want to push yourself so far that you can never come back from that point where you push yourself. This is the danger of the all or nothing, the go hard mentality. And I'll give you some dangers that you could run into in a few minutes. While hardcore determination or hardcore commitment is to be admired, don't confuse it with intensity of your training. Your training program should be a mix of high intensity and low intensity workouts. In fact, a schedule of nothing but high intensity workouts will quickly lead to overtraining, burnout, or worse, injury. Rest and recovery is as important in your training schedule as those high-intensity workouts. Most athletes will thrive on just 1 or 2 high-intensity days per week. And I see this all the time, especially these young runners. They go out and they bound, they leap like gazelles with these really long strides and go very fast. Well, first they're overstriding and their step count is way too low. And they're going too fast. So they're making 2 mistakes here. And they're going to run into problems. Either they're going to get injured or they're going to get burned out way too fast. So they probably won't keep running, or they'll be injured so they can't keep running. It's one or the other. They can't keep that up. Not bounding like gazelles like that. Be sure to schedule easier, enjoyable, lower intensity runs into your training cycle. A better piece of advice is to run hard on your hard days and run easy on your easy days. This is really important. On those long runs, you have to go slower. If you feel like you're going too slow, that's the pace you should go at. It's going to be awkward if you like to go fast. You have to go slower. Really do. Very, very important point. Runners often make the mistake of running too hard on easy days and not hard enough on hard days. Let me repeat that. Runners often make the mistake of running too hard on easy days and not hard enough on hard days. So if you are the type of runner where you do like to do tempo runs and you do like to do work on the track, make sure you're going hard enough on those days, but you want to go easy in your long run. If you go too hard in your long run, you risk injury and burnout. Going hard in running, meaning pushing yourself excessively without adequate recovery. It can lead to overtraining and various negative consequences, including injury, decreased performance, and a weakened immune system. While the body can adapt to longer distance running with proper rest, excessive overtraining can have harmful effects. And some of these harmful effects can include increased risk of injury. Overtraining can weaken muscles and bones, making them more susceptible to injury from overuse. Weakened immune system. Chronic stress from intense workouts can impair the immune system, making you more vulnerable to illness. Do you ever notice how frequently professional athletes get sick? That's because they overtrain. It's their job to train. It's their job to be there for their sport. But because of that, they have a weakened immune system. They're probably maybe not getting enough rest. They're maybe not taking the correct nutrition. Something's going on, and they get sick quite frequently and quite easily. Decreased performance. Instead of improving, pushing yourself too hard can actually lead to a plateau or even a decrease in your running performance. And there you go. You're actually hurting yourself more than you are helping. So please be aware of that. By pushing yourself too hard, you're going over the line and you're hurting yourself. Other symptoms of overtraining can include negative mental health, causing symptoms like irritability, anxiety, depression, and poor sleep quality. And one thing that's not talked about in those go big or go hard philosophies is the importance of recovery and rest. And I wish that was talked about more in running, because it seems like that's seen as a weakness by many. And rest and recovery is not a weakness. Rest and recovery is an important part of running. And I know streakers don't do that. They get their mile in. But I really believe that most runners would help themselves and do better by taking one full day of running off, at least one day, full day of running off, and maybe just do some light yoga or a nice walk or play with the family, spend time with your friends, do something nice, go on a nice hike with your friends and have a picnic or something like that. It was a beautiful day yesterday. It would have been a lovely day for a picnic. I went on a long, long run/hike. I'll talk about that after this, but that would have been a wonderful day for a picnic. But rest and recovery is really, really important. Getting enough sleep is super, super important, and that should be stressed as much as your training. Well, it is part of your training, actually, because when you rest, when you sleep, is when your body rests and actually builds your muscle and builds your lung power and builds everything when you're resting. You don't build that when you're out there on the trail. You build that when you're resting. So that is very, very important, and I don't think that's taken as much importance as it should be by some. Sorry about that. I lost my train of thought. Oh my goodness. And I have had coffee and breakfast too. Imagine. Oh my goodness. Okay. 80-20 running is really a nice balance of training, and it takes everything into account, where 80% is slow running and takes things a little bit less fast than you would want, and then the 20% is the hard work, the tempo, or the track work, or whatever you want to do with that. And I think that's a really, really nice way to do it. I'll have a whole episode on 80-20 running in the future, so look forward to that. I think it's a really nice way to do your training. Physical exercise and running is essential to, well, not running is essential, but running is essential to us, let's just say. It's essential to maintain a healthy lifestyle, but there is a fine line between pushing oneself to the limit and overtraining. While a dedicated workout routine yields numerous benefits, overtraining can take a negative toll, and in some cases lead to potentially life-threatening outcomes. One such condition is rhabdomyolysis, also termed rhabdo, and I'm going to call it rhabdo now, because if I say that the long one too many times, I'm going to say it wrong. I know I am. Rhabdo occurs when, due to overexertion, muscle tissue breaks down and releases proteins such as creatine, kinase, KT, and myoglobin that can damage the kidneys. Symptoms of rhabdo can include muscle aches, significant weakness, dark, murky urine, and in some cases decreased to no urine output. And I remember seeing this in one of the elite ultra runners on one course that he was on, one of the 200 courses, and he had it really bad and had it to be taken to the hospital. So it's no joke. It really isn't any joke. You have to eat properly. First off, you have to hydrate properly. You have to watch yourself properly. You have to rest properly. You have to do all this properly. And I don't think he was doing any of that. I know he doesn't eat properly. I know that first and foremost. He's on all these crazy diets, so I know that affects him. And I know he wasn't taking in hydration properly, and he wasn't resting properly. So all that affected his race at that time. Exertional rhabdo can occur after strenuous exercise and from high-intensity workouts during which the muscles are overused, said Nilufar Nobak, Associate Clinical Professor of Nephrology, and I'll put the link to this on the website. You can also get rhabdo from direct trauma, but we're talking about running right now. While anyone can get rhabdo, athletes, runners, and people in certain occupations are at a higher risk. Treating rhabdo. Patients with rhabdo may experience kidney failure and require dialysis, but it is manageable with prompt intervention. So if you take care of it right away, you should be okay, but you have to take care of it. IV fluid is the first thing that they work on, and then from there, then they can take care of you. It's really important to run your own race, stay on your own path, and don't be intimidated by someone who has a strong voice, who seems like, who seems more self-assured than you. You might say, oh, I don't know what I'm talking about. They know, so I'll follow them. That's not necessarily true. Just because someone has a louder voice than you, just because someone seems bigger and stronger than you, that doesn't mean they're right. That just means they have a louder voice. Big deal. You do you. You keep going on whatever running you're doing. And if you're enjoying it, if you think you're doing fine, then stick with it. Don't pay attention to those loud voices. They're just trying to get their own point across, regardless whether it's right or wrong. Regardless of whether it makes sense or not. Maybe they're just trying to sell books. Maybe they're just trying to get more customers for their workouts. Everyone's trying to sell something. I mean, really, that's really what it is. So don't fall for it. You stay on your own path, work on your own runs, and just avoid all that noise. Just don't listen to it. You do you, and you should be fine. All right? Well, I had an amazing trail run / hike this weekend. I say / hike because, I hiked a lot of it. I got a lot of elevation gain. I mean, a lot. 16 miles total, and it was such a wonderful day. I was going to go out Saturday, but I didn't sleep well, and the weather wasn't that great. And it said the weather was going to be a lot warmer Sunday, so I went out Sunday. I went, and I slept better too. Sunday, I went to the Headlands. I went down I started at the north end of the Golden Gate Bridge. I went up, and then I went down into the Rodeo Valley, up to Rodeo Beach. I realized I hadn't been there for years. And then I went up the side of the coastal trail up to top of Hill 1, and I hadn't done that for years. I was just huffing and puffing my way up. Oh my gosh, those stairs got tiring after a while. It was up the stairs. And then I got to Wolf Ridge, and I hadn't done Wolf Ridge for a very long time, and I was a little nervous about doing Wolf Ridge. Well, what I had forgotten about was the race, the Bootleg Boogie race that I did in February. The downhills were much worse than Wolf Ridge, especially that one side of the hill where it was like loose rock. That was much harder. So doing Wolf Ridge was a piece of cake. It wasn't bad at all. And I had nothing to be afraid of, nothing to worry about. And I got down that really super easy. And actually, it was hard because the uphills were tough, but it was a really, really fun day. I was out there for hours. It took me a long time to do 16 miles, but you know what? I don't care. I was taking my time. I wasn't going fast. I was just getting the miles done. I got almost 2,000 feet elevation gain in 16 miles. That's a lot of elevation gain. So I got that done. It was a beautiful day. I brought a lot of food with me, which was great. What really, really worked well for me is that I had 2 bottles of water, and that I brought an unopened small bottle of water plastic bottle that I bought at Walgreens, and I stuck that in the back. The problem with the Headlands is that there's only a couple places that you can get water at. There's no places for water at Tennessee Valley Road. So if you're going there and like me and you're on the bus, it's really hard because you can't get water at Tennessee Valley Road. So you have to bring it with you. So when I got to Tennessee Valley Road, I was almost out of water, so I was able to use that plastic bottle, and I poured that into one of my bottles with the vest. So that really helped me a lot. That was great. Oh God, that was such a lifesaver. I was like, thank goodness for this. So that was really, really good yesterday. I'm going to go out this afternoon. I have a couple things this morning, but I'm going to go out this afternoon and get another shorter run in, but just to stretch out my tired legs and to get things working again. That will be nice. What else? Oh yeah. I have, in 2 weeks, I have a half marathon I'm doing in Napa. I'm taking an extra day off. I'm renting a car. I've got a hotel, not in Napa. I can't afford it there, but it's near there, so it'll be nice. And that's going to be a fun race. And then I have my big race, of course, in June. I have one more very long run to do. I might do a couple more very long runs. We'll see if I can fit it in. If I can fit a very long run in on a Monday, I'll do that and just kind of fit that in. So that might work because I work every other weekend, so I can't do it on the weekends all the time, unfortunately. But I'll fit it all in, so that should work well. All right, so that is it for this week. I'm going to put a link for the Facebook page for the show on the website, MarthaRunsTheWorld.com. So go ahead and like or follow. That would be awesome if you could get the numbers up a little bit, put that on there. The website is MarthaRunsTheWorld.com, and my email is MarthaRunsTheWorld@gmail.com. So if you have any questions or anything, you can message me if you want. You can check out everything on the website, and that is it. I hope you're having fabulous runs this week, and I hope it's a great week for you. And until next week, let's tie up our shoelaces and go for a run.